I feel like every single time I read something about the latest in Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni, there's a little dash that says this is just for publicity. Well, it's like not everything can be for publicity. You have to do things, by the book at some point. And welcome back to another episode of Morgan's Pop Talks, breaking down the latest in reality TV and pop culture. Happy June! Happy summer! Are we officially in the summer girl vibe? Sorry, I have a chia seed in my tooth. Yeah, we are. That's how you know we're in the summer girl vibe. I'm eating chia seeds, okay, on my Wednesday afternoon. I have to say, sorry, because I forgot to tell y'all that I was going on a little family vacation. So thankfully, nobody asked me where the MPT episode was last week. I lie. One person asked me where it was, but I was posting on my stories that I was in Florida. So hopefully you guys just know because you're smart girlies and you can put the context clues together, but not very professional of me to not let you know that I was going on vacation. But no worries. I'm back feeling more confident as I am a little sun-kissed. That's the best part of coming into June, July, August here in Northeast Ohio. That's the end of that, Just so much more confident when you don't look as pale as when you came out of the womb, which is just like how I look on a normal day-to-day basis. Don't forget the sunscreen, of course, but a little sun kiss never hurt nobody. Let's get into this week's episode. We have a lot to discuss. There's Summer House rumors going around. There's Love Island USA that is back. We have a lot of updates on Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. Shocker. So that's where we're going to start with this week's Pop 3. So I'm going to start with something that happened earlier this week and then move into something that happened last week, but it's all related. So Blake Lively this week, she dropped 2 of her emotional distress claims in her lawsuit against Justin Baldoni. So people saw that and obviously they're like, well, does that mean that the case is over? No, it's just 2 claims of many, multiple, but what is the reasoning? Well, like most things, it depends who you ask. So Blake's team says, no, we're just trying to keep this lawsuit more focused on what we perceive is the bigger issue here, which is the sexual harassment and retaliation allegations. So this happened after Justin Baldoni's legal team asked for Blake Lively's medical records, her therapy records, because basically they're saying, if you had this emotional distress, we need you to prove it in a court of law, hand over your therapy records. They wanted her to sign a release giving access to that private information. Of course, HIPAA violation. You can't just be looking at that stuff without consent. So she, I guess, didn't want to do it. Well, Baldoni's lawyer pushed back, asking the judge to force her to hand over these records, saying you can't have it both ways. You can't claim emotional distress, and potentially get a charge for it without giving evidence to support your claims. But Blake's team fired back and called it a press stunt, which feels very on brand. I feel like every single time I read something about the latest in Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni, there's a little dash that says this is just for publicity. Well, it's like not everything can be for publicity. You have to do things, by the book at some point. But like I said, they said you can't have it both ways. So on Tuesday, the judge officially ruled that her emotional distress claims were out of the lawsuit. Because of that, Justin Baldoni's demand for her medical records was denied. So basically, that portion of the lawsuit is no longer. The judge also said that both sides need to agree on whether Blake can refile those claims later or not. But either way, she's not allowed to bring up emotional distress in the case moving forward. Her lawyers say that decision proves Baldoni's request was completely pointless. In my personal opinion, it proves both sides. You know what I mean? I can't with that. Everything is a publicity stunt. So then we have this big update with Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift was originally subpoenaed to testify in this case because Taylor Swift has not been a central figure, but has been a highly publicized figure. I mean, Taylor Swift is one of the most famous people in the entire world. When you drag her into a lawsuit between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni, no matter how much or how little she was involved, people are going to talk a lot about it. So mostly because of Blake's allegations, right, that Taylor Swift's prints are all over this, and she helped write, and she helped do this, and Taylor denied that. She's like, no, I literally just let them use a song. I was touring. I want nothing to do with this. So last week we get the headline, Taylor Swift no longer subpoenaed in this case. Justin Baldoni's team dropped it. And you have to ask why. And depending on where you look for the answer, you will find different answers as to why that subpoena was dropped. Of course, Blake's team says, oh, it's because there was nothing there. They were harassing Taylor. They were using her for her celebrity for yet another publicity stunt. But Justin Baldoni's team hasn't officially came out and said anything, but there have been anonymous sources, right, talking to everybody and their brother. Well, it's been reported by this anonymous source to multiple outlets, like I said, Page 6, TMZ, whatever, that Taylor Swift's dad, Scott Swift, reportedly went to Justin Baldoni's team with the claim that Blake Lively threatened to leak Taylor Swift's text messages if the pop star did not publicly support her in this ongoing feud. This anonymous person said, you don't need to subpoena when you already have the information. So it's a very interesting case study at how two sides of the story can turn a narrative to portray what they want it to portray. An insider told the Daily Mail Scott Swift did not want his daughter to be dragged into this any further, and he voluntarily gave up this information as part of a deal that would include Baldoni's team withdrawing their subpoena for Taylor. According to Page 6, Blake Lively is groveling for their friendship back. Taylor is ignoring text messages, calls, voicemails, emails. You got to be desperate if you're sending an email to your best friend and she's still not responding to it. Although another source claimed to People magazine that the duo were trying to get back on good terms, so their friendship isn't the same as what it was before, and that it would take some time to get back. Clearly, a war of words. You have Justin Baldoni's camp putting stuff out there. You have Blake Lively's camp putting stuff out there. And the truth, I believe, is somewhere in the middle. I think Taylor really obviously does not want to be dragged into this. I mean, she had a huge week last week and buying all of her masters back. I'm sorry to my Swifties. If you wanted to get Reputation Taylor's version, I guess it's not happening. But at least you can listen to the original guilt-free now, right? Okay, let's move on to number 3 in this week's Pop 3. Let's talk about JoJo Siwa and Chris Hughes. This story has been building for quite some time. I don't want to say I've been ignoring it. I've been paying attention. Trust me, I've been paying attention. But I just wanted to see where it went before bringing it to the podcast. And I'm really surprised that it has ended up here, okay? So this started a couple weeks ago when JoJo Siwa was on Celebrity Big Brother UK with Chris Hughes, who was a Love Islander on UK. Now, when JoJo Siwa went into the Big Brother house, JoJo was dating Kath Ebbs, okay? And they were talking about getting married, allegedly, in a very happy relationship. JoJo went into this house taken. Well, while the show was playing out, fans were like, what is going on with JoJo Siwa and Chris Hughes? They're very flirty with each other. You know, JoJo said to him at one point, I have had this realization about my sexuality since I've been here, but we didn't know what that was, right? It appeared that she wrote something on his hand, but we didn't know what it was. We're like, oh, no, JoJo is with Kath. Like, they're happy together. Chris and JoJo are just really good friends, whatever. It was still weird, right? We all were like, nah, it's a little bit too touchy-feely. Like, if you're Kath, how do you feel about watching this on national television? Well, then they both got out of the Big Brother house. And long story short, JoJo breaks up with Kath at the finale party of Celebrity Big Brother. And now people are really starting to wonder, like, did JoJo Siwa fall in love with Chris Hughes on this show? Did we all watch it in real time? Turns out That's exactly what happened. They're now officially dating. So Chris Hughes shared a Snapchat of them in bed together, like looking naked as a jaybird, like just looking all cuddled up and cozy. The caption said, "Sleeping Beauty." And then JoJo Siwa goes out and does this interview with The Guardian and says she's loving her current relationship. Says, "I won't ever speak for him, but for me personally, the happiness in my life just radiates off me right now. Like yesterday, I was massaging my cheeks. I've never before been in pain from smiling so much." So they're together. I mean, they've been posting left and right on social media. And people, I mean, just the roller coaster ride that we have gone on with this whole saga with Chris Hughes and JoJo Siwa. Now, I will say I haven't followed JoJo Siwa's career that meticulously over the years. What I will say is that I do just have soft spots for people like JoJo Siwa who have grown up under public scrutiny and in the public eye and really don't know any different. I mean, we first met JoJo on Dance Moms, under Abby Lee Miller, which I'm sure was an experience in itself. So I feel like JoJo is an easy person for people to make fun of, but I don't want her to end up like every other child star that we have seen go down this dark road because of being brought up in the spotlight. And think about it this way. I mean, when you look at the people from like my generation that we're really worried about, like the Amanda Byneses of the world, they didn't have to deal with social media too. So you have this new generation of child stars who have to deal with social media and the hate and pressure that comes along with that. So like I said, I know people like to make fun of JoJo Siwa just personally, and I'm not like saying this from my high horse. Like, trust me, there have been times that I'm like, JoJo, what are you doing? But she's happy. I'm happy. And it's just wild. It is wild that we all watch that play out on live television, okay? All right, let's get into this week's deep dive. Of course, the moment we've all been waiting for, Love Island USA is officially back. We crashed the app. How many of us were like waited with bated breath refreshing 901, 902, 905, 907, 947 was the time that Love Island USA flashed up on my Peacock app. Then I clicked the episode, an hour and 43 minutes. If you're going to make these episodes an hour and 43 minutes, you need to understand that your target audience, your demo, are women 25 to, let's say, 40. Okay, we go to bed at 10 o'clock on the dot, on the DOT. So don't be late or shorten the episodes. We all had the Love is Blind flashbacks, right? Of literally ruining the entirety of the rest of the week. Because I don't know about you, but if my sleep schedule gets messed up on a Tuesday, it's taken me until the next Tuesday to get back on track. And we're like, oh God, we have been here, done that with the Love is Blind live reunion where we waited hours, days, it felt like. It's been 43 years, you know? But eventually we got there. Highly anticipated season 7 of Love Island. I'm kind of scared. I feel like we're all a little bit scared. It has such big shoes to fill. I mean, the season 6 cast was so iconic, so rare. I mean, they got their own spinoff show. When does that ever happen? It rarely does. So you have to go into the mindset of season 7 not trying to compare, which I was doing the whole first episode. I'm going to be completely honest, especially during the intro. During the intro, at first, I was being such a hater. I was like, oh, last year the song was better, Cordell spinning the suitcase around. But then I was like, hold on. You cannot watch season 7 of Love Island through the lens of season 6 of Love Island, or you're just going to be on the hamster wheel the entire time. You can't be comparing castmates. You have to be able to take it at face value. So once I was able to kind of slap myself out of that moment, I really enjoyed the opening scene. Was it a little extra? Was it a little bit much? Yes. Love Island is extra. Love Island is much. I mean, the cinematography, the choreography, the set design, it was giving the vibe that we needed it to give. Okay. So I feel like it did set a fun vibe for the premiere. And like I said, once I told myself to get a grip, I enjoyed it. Is that a hot take? Maybe. Let's get into the women. So we have Shelly, Bella, Huda, Alondria, and Ulyssa. Once again, I come into this episode looking for the next PPG. I told myself, stop, it'll happen naturally. I feel like I've seen some conversation online even today, you know, one day later, and I know we've had one other episode to get through by the time you listen to this, but even today, you know, people posting Shelly and Alandria is like, is this the new PPG? I don't want to do that. You know, I know it's so much easier said than done. I don't want to do it. I probably will do it, but none of the girls really bothered me at first, like, which is a good thing. I can't say the same thing about the men, which we'll get to in a second, but while the episode went on, I feel like a villain did emerge, and that is Ulyssa. And now that we've had episode 1, I'm never one of the people that, like, during any show, when the cast list comes out, I'm not, like, looking them up on Instagram or whatever. I'm letting it come to me naturally. That's with Love Island, that's with The Bachelor, that's with whatever. So I didn't know anything about Ulyssa, but now when I open any social media, we all know that stuff has come out about Ulyssa, her digital footprint, you know, using racial slurs on podcasts. So it's just not a good look. On the show, you know, she's really the only person to come in with the attitude of, I'm here for me, I'll steal your man, I don't care what we have to do. And we see her do it with Shelly and Ace, like right off the rip. I don't feel like any of the other girls had that vibe. Like, of course people say it. Of course people are like, oh, I'm here for me, I'm here to find love. But also they have like some sense of decorum. But anyways, fans are like already ready to vote Ulyssa off, which I feel like hopefully doesn't affect Ace, because I really like Ace. I mean, to be determined on where that relationship goes, if they're able to do another couple up and, you know, he gets out of that relationship. But yeah, it's not looking great for Ulyssa right about now. The guys, I wasn't that impressed at all by the guys. We had Ace, Cowboy Taylor, which I love Cowboy Taylor. Let me put that out there first. Nick, Austin, and Jeremiah. I thought it's just so interesting. And maybe, I don't know if it's sexist or not, but like the girls' intro packages are just fun and flirty and full of confidence and full of personalities. And I feel like the guys are just awkward. Especially Nick was super awkward. Like I felt myself tensing up watching Nick's intro package and Austin. I thought I was just like, what's going on here? Maybe it's easier for the girls to like flirt with a camera than it is for the guys. Nick grew on me throughout the episode. Austin, not so much. And I mean, no shade to the guy, but I'm just like, the vibe is weird. The vibe is weird with Austin. Like I said, love Taylor. Episode 1, he's my favorite. I always gravitate towards the funny guys. You know, he's a cowboy. He's in a good couple right now. Let's just go ahead and get into the couples. Should I start with them since I'm talking about them? Yes, I'm going to go out of order from my notes. Taylor and Alondria. So they seem like a match made in heaven, right? They're both from the South. They connect on a lot of things. Alondria's like, I've tried dating these city boys. I can't do it. Taylor's like, well, ma'am, look at my belt buckle, you know? So I feel like they're going to be good. But Alondria also wants to spread her wings, fly around, not be locked down. I get it. It's day one. Who's going to like lock it down? Jeremiah and Huda, maybe. But I feel like Taylor's giving me Cordell vibes in the sense that he's really funny and I feel like he falls really fast. You guys, I just said I wasn't going to compare it to season 6. I can't help it. Anyways, I hope that he doesn't like fall fast and get heartbroken and that be the case because I really like them together. Ace and Ulyssa, like I said, Ulyssa stole Ace from Shelly. There's the invisible string between Ace and Shelly. They actually met outside of a club and now they're in Fiji on Love Island. Like I would be like, oh my gosh, it's fate. It's meant to be, whatever. But Ulyssa's like, nope, I want to hang out with Ace. I'm going to steal him. You can tell that Ace is not really into her. And like I said, I think she's going to be the first person voted off. Will he be a byproduct of that vote off? Let's talk about Nick and Bella. So Bella is a hot topic of conversation on social media because she goes on Love Island and she just gives everybody a kiss on the cheek, okay? And people are like, can you really go on Love Island and not play the games to the fullest? Like the game was you got to make out or whatever. I'm not here to judge her. She can do whatever she wants. If she doesn't want to make out with 5 guys at once, I wouldn't want to. I also wouldn't go on Love Island. That's just me. That's the argument people make. They're like, girl, like, if you didn't want to do all of this stuff, you shouldn't have gone on Love Island. Like, there are multiple other dating shows. But I don't mind it. I'm like, do you, be you. My thing is, I don't know if she's going to find the type of person she's looking for in this type of environment. You know what I mean? Because we already see she does like Nick. She's into him. But we already see Nick not necessarily put off by the lack of physicality that Bella is showing, but eager. Didn't mean to like hit puberty there. Eager to experience somebody who will. You know what I mean? So I feel like as soon as somebody comes in and he's into her and she gives that physicality that he's looking for, he's going to dump Bella. I just see it now. We see in the preview for tonight's episode that he gets pulled into the hideaway by the new bombshell. And it's like, the hideaway on the second night? We know stuff's going to go down in there. So we'll see. Austin and Shelly, never gonna happen. Literally never. Never ever. Not in this lifetime, not in a past lifetime, not in the next lifetime. I mean, I don't see it at all. They did look good together just based on her rainbow dress and his like mint green suit, but that's all it's gonna be. It's a photo op and we're out. She's clearly into Ace. Like I said, they already met each other. They have that invisible string. And Austin, like, I don't know if he's just nervous or, I mean, surely he's nervous, scared, but he's just not really connecting with her. And then you have Jeremiah and Huda, who are off to the races. They are so into each other. 3 different times, Jeremiah said, I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket, but I really like her. And sometimes that spark, that chemistry, it's undeniable. They have it. Huda also has the googly eyes. I mean, she looks at him like he hung the stars and the moon. I will say, you know, it has worked out in the past where somebody couples up on day 1 and they're together the whole time and they live happily ever after. It has gone Kayla and Aaron where, you know, it doesn't end up like that. I think the kissing challenge at the end was kind of telling. I feel like Huda looked upset after that kissing challenge, whether or not that's because she was kissed multiple times or that Jeremiah kissed other people. But what I'm afraid is going to happen here is that they're going to be so into each other so fast and kind of like clockwork. You know, when temptations are presented, Jeremiah is going to pull the card. I haven't got to experience Love Island. You know, that card. I was always closed off and I want to see where this goes and I want to see where that goes. And Huda's going to be like loyal to the bones and she's going to end up heartbroken. That's just a prediction. I don't know if it's going to happen, but another big test will obviously be how Jeremiah reacts to the fact that Huda has a daughter. I was so impressed with the way that she was able to swerve that conversation because it came up naturally, right? They're talking about what their life looks like at home, their apartments, and she's like, I have a 2-bedroom. He's like, what do you use the other bedroom for? And like, what do you say? I would have cracked. I would have cracked under that pressure. She didn't want to do it yet because she's like, I need to make sure that this guy is in it and in it for me before I tell him about this part of myself, which I get. I totally get. I mean, if I were her and I were in her shoes, I'd be like, that could potentially scare someone away. Some of it is like ignorance is bliss. Like, I want to be in this little bubble where we don't have any real potential issues to talk through. You know, it's the first day, so I understand why she didn't want to tell him. But also at the same time, she just put a major question mark in his head. He's going to be thinking about that a lot. I mean, I know it's easy for him to say in the moment, okay, you don't have to tell me. But the wheels are definitely spinning in his head, and she's going to have to tell him eventually if they continue to be this strong of a couple. But I do like them together. Is that crazy to say on day 1 as well? Can we also talk about like how incredible Ariana Madix looks? I mean, my gosh, her dreams really came true. I feel like Ariana has really leveled up Love Island. And that's no shade to the hosts of the past, but the stars really aligned for Ariana Madix at this moment to be the host of Love Island. They struck while the iron was hot, and I think it did bring a whole new audience. And not for nothing, she's good at the job. And it doesn't feel forced or put on, in my opinion. And looking back, I really love that Ariana didn't really have to use Scandoval to get anything that has come to her in the past year and a half. Now, obviously, yes, that contributed to how much she was being talked about in the press or, looked at by us, right? But she was never out here doing podcasts and doing multiple interviews. And she didn't use Scandoval to extend her 15 minutes personally. She let her talent speak for herself and the right opportunities came to her. And I just feel like, I don't know. I want to say, is it a good lesson to learn? I don't know if you can learn a lesson for that, but I just think that it's cool and it's good for her that she didn't have to relive all of this trauma to get where she is right now. So snaps for Ariana. All right, let's get into this week's honorable mention. There is a lot of rumors and nastiness, in my opinion, quite frankly, about season 10 of Summer House. What is the deal? What's going to happen? Who's coming back? Who's leaving? By the time you listen to this, you might have watched part 2 of the Summer House reunion. So knowing my luck, the announcement will be made tonight and this will be not irrelevant. We can still talk about it, but we're talking about it as if we don't have any answers right now. So what was posted today on Dumois was that this was what the post said, is if the buzz is true, things are about to get very interesting. We've got it on good authority that a certain fan favorite is reportedly ready to sail off into the sunset with a statement about their departure expected soon. And that's not all. Our sources are telling us that Gabby, Lexi, and Imrol are allegedly not getting asked back for the upcoming season. Meanwhile, it sounds like Lindsay will be making appearances here and there, but for now, nothing is confirmed about her full-time involvement. So people do think that the, where is it? Certain fan favorite is reportedly ready to sell off. They think that's Paige. If Paige DeSorbo leaves Summer House, I don't think any of us Paige fans will be surprised, but of course, we will be devastated, okay? She's got a million things going on. And I think when you look at it in the grand scheme of things, yes, she is on Summer House, but she also has things that she has full creative control over. Her podcast tour, her book, her Amazon Live, her, loungewear line that she just announced this week. Those are 5 streams of income, right? Plus your Summer House stream of income. Summer House garners a lot of hate and negativity for Paige. And I'm not saying that she's the only one. Everybody on reality TV gets a fair amount of hate. But when you have one stream of income that, contributes some negativity into your life, and then you have 5 streams of income that doesn't, that, for the most part, sparks your creativity, makes you happy. It's I could really do without the one because I still have 5 more. She's built such a strong brand for herself that she doesn't need the Summer House brand to continue her success. If she's no longer on the show, Paige DeSorbo's brand is still cemented. And I think really that's the whole point that she did reality TV in the first place. I read her article with InStyle magazine. She was talking about how, she always knew that coming onto reality TV, she wanted to do something other than be on TV. And we see people do that all the time, right? We see Kyle do it with Loverboy. We see Melissa Gorga do it with the Sprinkle Cookies. We've seen her now do it with a multitude of things. Podcasts, now Daphne, her new sleepwear line. And I just feel like she's the blueprint on if you want to create a personal brand for yourself and really branch out, Paige is a good person to look at for inspiration. Lindsay, I know I've changed my tune on Lindsay. Formal apologies to Wes Wilson. I came for him when he said, I don't think Lindsay will be back because of the baby. It was never about West, I will say. I just felt like, deep down, all of us knew that it was going to look different now that Lindsay has a newborn. But I just felt like it was Lindsay's point of view to share, because if she wanted to come back, I feel like she now has to kind of combat that energy of people think that I shouldn't be back because I have a child. Whereas if she came out and said, yes, this is the decision that I've made, it's in her hands, if you understand. Anyways, you know, it makes sense for her to pop in here and there because I really think being on TV means a lot to Lindsay. I don't think she wants to give it up. I do think she wants a different iteration of what it is now. I mean, even when she was on Watch What Happens Live, you know, with Andy Cohen on national television, she's like, yeah, what's happening with me, Andy? Where am I going? What am I doing? Let's talk about it. And Andy's like, okay, yeah, we'll talk about it. So being on TV means a lot to her. So I feel like she's kind of ready to take season 10 with a different approach, hoping that something else emerges. For people like Carl and Kyle, I say, someone in my comment section said, 10 it and send it, which I agree. Get to season 10 and then bow out gracefully. That would be a great milestone, I think, for people like Carl and Kyle to get to, and even Lindsay, even if she's not there in a full-time manner, to have done this show for 10 years, to have built it to what it is, and then to move on to your next chapter. I feel like that's what will happen, at least with Kyle. That's just my gut intuition for Kyle. Hot take, hot Bravo take, maybe unpopular opinion. I think it would be a mistake to not bring Lexi back for Summer House season 10. Love her or hate her, Lexi is playing the game of being a reality television personality, okay? She's giving us lots of stuff to talk about. She's invested in the drama that she herself is in. All of her press. Is it a lot? Yes, but also strike while the iron's hot. You don't know if you're going to be on TV in the next 6 months, so do the interviews, do the press, let us talk about something. From a promotional angle, who else on the cast promoted the season of Summer House personally the way that Lexi Wood did? What have we all been talking about for season 9? Are we fatigued? Yes, of course. We are fatigued, but I'd rather be fatigued than bored. Just saying. Am I going to get murdered in the comment section because of that one? Probably. And then I don't think that it would be any surprise to anybody if Gabby and Emerald were not asked back. Like, can you not see the difference? How they're totally different vibes, Gabby and Emerald to Lexi, when it comes to what they have been willing to share, or at least what producers and editors have put out there about them. It's like you have somebody who maybe has overshared in Lexi, and then you have somebody who really hasn't given a whole lot in Emerald and Gabby, both gone. So it's like, what do you want? What do you want? What do you want? Okay? Anyways, there's my Summer House hot takes. And there you have it for this week's episode of MPT. If you want more Bravo news, I have an exciting announcement to tell you about BravoCon this year. I'm so excited. I'm going to share the news with you on Patreon on Friday. So make sure if you're not subscribed, you go do it. Patreon.com/Morgan's Pop Talk. Sign up for the Bravo tier if you want it all. Bachelor, Love Island, Bravo, Survivor. Sign up for the Lilist tier. I'm saving you money. You also get discounts on the merch, which I'm getting ready to do a summer discount. So make sure you keep your eyes peeled. If not, I'll see you next week on another episode of MPT. And as always, love you like a sis.